Chapter 22. In the Torture Chamber. The Persian's narrative continued. We were in the middle of a six-cornered room, the sides of which were covered with mirrors from top to bottom. In the corners, we could clearly see the joints in the glasses, the segments intended to turn on their gear. Yes, I recognized them, and I recognized the iron tree in the corner of the room at the bottom of one of those segments. The iron tree with its iron branches for the hanged men. I seized my companion's arm. The victim Gichani was all aquiver, eager to shout to his betrothal that he was bringing her help. I feared that he would not be able to contain himself. Suddenly we heard a noise on our left. It sounded at first like a door opening and shutting in the next room. And then there was a dull moan. I clutched Monsieur Gichani's arm, still more firmly still. Then we distinctly heard these words. You must make your choice. The wedding mass or the requiem mass. I recognized the voice of the monster. There was another moan, followed by a long silence. I was persuaded by now that the monster was unaware of our presence in his house, for otherwise he would certainly have managed not to let us hear him. He would only have had to close the little invisible window through which the torture lovers looked down into the torture chamber. Besides, I was certain that if he had known of our presence, the tortures would have begun at once. The important thing was not to let him know, and I dreaded nothing so much as the impulsiveness of the Viscount Gichani, who wanted to rush through the walls to Christine Daae, whose moans we continued to hear at intervals. The requiem mass is not at all gay, Eric's voice resumed, whereas the wedding mass, you can take my word for it, it is magnificent. You must take a resolution and know your own mind. I can't go on living like this, like a mole in a burrow. Don Juan Triumphant is finished. And now I want to live like everyone else. I want to have a wife like everybody else, and to take her out on Sundays. I have invented a mask that makes me look like anybody. People will even turn around in the streets. You will be the happiest of women. And we will sing all by ourselves till we swoon away with delight. You are crying. You are afraid of me. And yet, I am not really wicked. Love me, and you shall see. All I wanted was to be loved for myself. If you loved me, I should be as gentle as a lamb, and you could do anything with me that you pleased. Soon the moans that accompanied this sort of love's litany increased and increased. I have never heard anything more despairing, and Monsieur Gichani and I recognized that this terrible lamentation came from Eric himself. Christine seemed to be standing dumb with horror, without the strength to cry out, while the monster was on his knees before her. 3 times over, Eric fiercely bewailed his face. You don't love me! You don't love me! You don't love me! And then more gently, Why do you cry? You know it gives me pain to see you cry. A silence. Each silence gave us fresh hope. We said to ourselves, perhaps he has left Christine behind the wall. And we thought only of the possibility of warning Christine died of our presence, unknown to the monster. We were unable to leave the torture chamber now, unless Christine opened the door to us, and it was only on this condition that we could hope to help her. For we did not even know where the door might be. Suddenly the silence in the next room was disturbed by the ringing of an electric bell. There was a sound on the other side of the wall, and Eric's voice of thunder. "Somebody's ringing! Walk in, please!" A sinister chuckle. "Who has come bothering now? Wait for me here. I am going to tell the siren to open the door." Steps moved away. A door closed. I had no time to think of the fresh horror that was preparing. I forgot that the monster was only going to perhaps to participate a fresh crime. I understood but one thing. Christine was alone behind the wall. The victim Dechany was already calling to her. "Christine! Christine!" As we could hear what was said in the next room, there was no reason why my companion should not be heard in his turn. Nevertheless, the Viscount had to repeat his cry time after time. At last the faint voice reached us. "I'm dreaming," it said. "Christine! Christine, it is I, Raoul!" A silence. But answer me, Christine! In heaven's name! If you are alone, answer me!" Then Christine's voice whispered Raoul's name. Yes, it is I! It is not a dream! Christine, trust me! We are here to save you, but be prudent. When you hear the monster, warn us." Then Christine gave way to fear. She trembled lest Eric should discover where Raoul was hidden. She told us in a few hurried words that Eric had gone quite mad with love, and that he had decided to kill everybody and himself with everybody if she did not consent to become his wife. He had given her till 11 o'clock the next evening for reflection. It was the last respite. It was the last respite. She must choose, as he said, between the wedding mass and the requiem. And Eric had then uttered the phrase which Christine did not quite understand. "Yes or no. If your answer is no, everyone will be dead and buried." But I understood the sentence perfectly, for it corresponded with the terrible manner with my own dreadful thought. "Can you tell us where Eric is?" I asked. She replied that he must have left the house. "Could you make sure?" "No, I am fastened. I cannot stir a limb." When we heard this, Monsieur Dechany and I gave a yell of fury. Our safety, the safety of all three of us, depends on the girl's liberty of movement. "But where are you?" said Christine. "There are only 2 doors in my room. The Louis Philippe room, of which I told you, Raoul, the door through which Eric comes and goes, and another which he has never opened before me, and which he has forbidden me ever to go through, because he says it is the most dangerous of the doors of the torture chamber. Christine, that is where we are! You are in the torture chamber? Yes, but we cannot see the door. Oh, if I could only drag myself so far. I would knock at the door, and that would tell you where it is. Is it a door with a lock on it? I asked. Yes, with a lock. Mademoiselle, I said, it is absolutely necessary that you should open the door to us. But how? Asked the girl, poor girl, tearfully. We heard her straining, trying to free herself from the bonds that held her. I know where the key is, she said in a voice that seemed exhausted by the efforts she had made. But I am fastened so tight. Oh, that wretch! She gave a sob. Where is the key? I asked, signing to Monsieur Duchesne not to speak and to leave the business to me, for we had not a moment to lose. In the next room, near the organ, with another little bronze key, which he also forbade me to touch. They are both in a leather bag which he calls the bag of life and death. Raoul, fly! Everything is mysterious and terrible here, and Eric will soon have gone quite mad, and you are in a torture chamber. Are in the torture chamber. Go back by the way you came. There must be a reason why the room is called by that name. Christine, said the young man, we will go from here together or die together. We must keep cool, I whispered. Why has he fastened your mademoiselle? You can't escape from this house, and he knows it. I tried to commit suicide. The monster went out last night after carrying me here fainting and half chloroformed. He was going to his banker, so he said. When he returned, he found me with my face covered with blood. I had tried to kill myself by striking my forehead against the walls. Christine! Groaned Raoul, and he began to sob. Then he bound me. I am not allowed to die until 11 o'clock tomorrow evening. Mademoiselle, I declared, the monster bound you, and he shall unbind you. You have only to pay the necessary part. Remember that he loves you. Alas, we heard, I am likely to forget it. Remember it, and smile to him. Entreat him. Tell him that your bonds hurt you. But Christine said, Hush, I hear something in the wall on the lake. It is he. Go away, go away, go away! We could not go away even if we wanted to, I said. As impressively as I could. We cannot leave this. And we are in the torture chamber. Hush! Whispered Christine again. Heavy steps sounded slowly behind the wall, then stopped and made the floor creak once more. Next came a tremendous sigh, followed by a cry of horror from Christine, and we heard Eric's voice. I beg your pardon for letting you see a face like this. What a state I am in. Am I not? It's the other one's fault. Why did he ring? Do I ask people who pass to tell me the time? You will never ask anybody the time again. It is the siren's fault. Another sigh, deeper, more tremendous still, came from the abysmal depths of his soul. Why did you cry out, Christine? Because I am in pain, Eric. I thought I had frightened you. Eric, unloose my bonds. Am I not your prisoner? You will try to kill yourself again. You have given me till 11 o'clock tomorrow evening, Eric. The footsteps dragged along the floor again. After all, as we are to die together, and I am just as eager as you. Yes, I have had enough of this life, you know. Wait, don't move! I will release you. You have only one word to say. No. And it will at once be over with everybody. You are right. You are right. Why wait till 11 o'clock tomorrow evening? True. It would have been grander, finer, but that is childish nonsense. We should only think of ourselves in this life, of our own death. The rest doesn't matter. You're looking at me because I am all wet. Oh dear. It's raining cats and dogs outside. Apart from that, Christine, I think I am subject to hallucinations. You know, the man who rang at the siren's door just now? Go and look if he's ringing at the bottom of the lake. Well, he was rather like... There, turn around. Are you glad? You're free now. Oh, my poor Christine, look at your wrists. Tell me, I have hurt them. That alone deserves death. Talking of death, I must sing this requiem. Hearing these terrible remarks, I received an awful precedent. I too had once rung the monster's door, and without knowing it, must have set some warning current in motion. And I remembered the two arms that had emerged from the inky waters. That poor wretch had strayed to the shore this time? Who was the other one? The one whose requiem we now heard sung. Eric sang like the god of thunder, sang as dies Irene, that enveloped us as in a storm. The elements seemed to rage around us. Suddenly the organ and the voice ceased so suddenly that Monsieur de Chany sprang back on the other side of the wall with emotion, and the voice changed and transformed distinctly, grated out these metallic symbols. syllables. What have you done with my bag? Maybe it is. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a scene cut, so maybe just leave this here. I can't really see the necklace though. Eh. Chapter 23. The tortures begin. The Persian's narrative continued. The voice repeated angrily, "What have you done with my bag? So it was to take my bag that you asked me to release you?" We heard hurried steps, Christine running back to the Louis Philippe room as though to seek shelter on the other side of our wall. "What are you running away for?" asked a furious voice which had followed her. "Give me back my bag. Will you? Don't you know that it is the bag of life and death?" "Listen to me, Eric," sighed the girl. "As it is settled that we are to live together, what difference can it make to you? You know there are only 2 keys in it," said the monster. "What do you want to do?" "I want to look at this room which I have never seen, and which you have always kept from me. It's woman's curiosity," she said in a tone which she tried to render playful, but the trick was too childish for Eric to be taken in by it. "I don't like curious women," he retorted, "and you had better remember the story of Bluebeard and be careful." "Come, give me my bag." "Give me my bag! Give me back my bag!" "Leave the key alone, will you, you inquisitive little thing?" And he chuckled, while Christine gave a cry of pain. Eric had evidently recovered the bag from her. At that moment, the Viscount could not help uttering an exclamation of impotent rage. "Why? What's that?" said the monster. "Did you hear, Christine?" No, replied the poor girl. I heard nothing." "I thought I heard a cry." "A cry? You are going mad, Eric. Whom do you expect to give a cry in this house?" I cried out because you hurt me. I heard nothing." "I don't like the way you said that. You're trembling. You're quite excited." "You're lying. That was a cry. There was a cry. There is someone in the torture chamber." "Ah, I understand now. There is no one there, Eric." "I understand. No one? The man you want to marry, perhaps." "I don't want to marry anybody. You know I don't." Another nasty chuckle. "Well, it won't take long to find out, Christine, my love. We need not open the door to see what is happening in the torture chamber. Would you like to see? Would you like to see? Look here! If there is someone, if there is really someone there, you will see the invisible window light up. the top, near the ceiling. We need only draw back the curtain. Draw the black curtain and put out the light in here. There. That's it. Let's put out the light. You're not afraid of the dark. When you're with your little husband. Then we heard Christine's voice aghast. No! I'm frightened! I tell you, I'm afraid of the dark. I don't care about the room now. You're always frightening me like a child with your torture chamber. And so I became inquisitive. But I don't care about it now. Not a bit! Not a bit! And that which I feared above all things became automatically. We were suddenly flooded with light. Yes, on our side of the wall, everything seemed aglow. Excuse me. The Viscount Duchesne was so much taken aback that he staggered, and the angry voice roared. I told you there was someone. Do you see the window now? The lighted window up there? The man behind the wall can't see it. But you shall go up the folding steps. That is what they're there for. You have often asked me to tell you, and now you know. They are there to give a peep into the torture chamber. You inquisitive little thing. What tortures? Who is being tortured? Eric. Eric. Say you are only trying to frighten me. Say it. If you love me, Eric, there are no tortures, are there? Go and look at the little window, dear. I do not know if the Viscount heard the girl's swooning voice, for he was too much occupied by the astounding spectacle that now appeared before his distracted gaze. As for me, I had seen the sight too often through the little window at the time of the rosy hours of Mesendrin, and I cared only for what was being said next door, seeking for a hint how to act, what resolution to take. Go and peep through the little window. Tell me what he looks like. We heard the steps being dragged against the wall. Up with you! No! No! I will go up by myself, dear. Oh, very well. I will go up. Let me go. Oh, my darling. My darling. How sweet of you. How nice of you to save me the exertion at my age. Tell me what he looks like. At that moment, we distinctly heard these words above our heads. There is no one there. There is no one there, dear. No one. Are you sure there is no one? Why, of course not. No one. Well, that's all right. What's the matter, Christine? You're not going to faint, are you? As there is no one there. Here, come down. There. Pull yourself together. As there is no one there,